Here we are. I'm currently in our storage room. I had a better idea for this. I was going to do it with the camera higher up, but it didn't quite work out how I was going to how I hoped it would. It didn't quite work out how I hoped it would. But here we are. It's 11:51. I've done my Duolingo. I've got my streak, 424 days of learning Italian on Duolingo. I've eaten more bread, more ice cream, more chocolate, more sweets than maybe I have in the last 4 months. But that's the point of having visitors. When they come, you indulge in all the great things that Sicily has to offer. And when they leave, I'll be back on having chicken and rice, doing lots of gym. I'm looking at myself, I see my face is inflamed and my gut is enlarged. But it was all for the love of the game. All for the love of the game. I think what I wanted to speak about, something that's been on my mind in these days, unrelated to siblings being here, is we all have to be our own artists. This is related to using our own voice and the importance of using our own voice. And that when we think too much about the audience of our work, we can become paralyzed. You know, my brother was saying something interesting to me. He's writing an album, which you saw in the previous video. He said, maybe I'll make my album a bit like this because of what, wondering what these specific people will think if I do this on my album. And I said to him, Danny, you've just got to do what you want to do. You've got to think of your audience beyond the people that you know. Think beyond your own network of people who are going to consume your album. Think about who it might discover your album. And the people who might discover your album and find meaning in it are those who really feel connected to your own perspective, connected to your own taste in music. And it's the same with me in filmmaking and me doing anything of artistic, just anything artistic, especially, filmmaking. If I get too bogged down in what the people I know will think of my films, then it's paralyzing. I have to think beyond that. I have to think about what is the film I want to make, and hope that there are people out there that connect with it. And that's what a lot of filmmakers do, a lot of artists do. People in the time of Van Gogh did not think that he was a great artist, but look at what's happened since then. I'm not saying that Danny or I will be the next Van Gogh, but all I'm trying to say is that it's not just this concept that people don't appreciate you and your time, which I hope to be some sort of, I hope there is some sort of appreciation of my work at some point in my life, but it's more that the people who might appreciate our work are the people beyond the people we know. And that's an important thing we should hold on to as artists. It's not to worry what John from round the corner or what Bella from school thinks or what Josephine from university might think of my film. People that you barely speak to, people that don't know really who you are at your core. And when you do a piece of art, when you do a piece of music, when you do a film, you're often sharing the things that you don't ever even speak about with anyone, and it's an opportunity to bear them into this world with some form of creative expression. So it's important to stay true to that, and important to stay true to your own voice, which is something we've spoken about before. So yeah, anyone who's tuning in right now know that I'm a British filmmaker in Sicily. And I've moved here because I married a beautiful Sicilian, and I'm trying to make it here in the film business, and by creating films from my own unique perspective, using my own unique voice. And this is what we're trying to do. We're trying to talk about what it means to be an artist, and redefining and decentralizing the way in which we can go about making films and being a filmmaker here that stretches beyond the London-centric world that I was born into, because of the choices I've made that have led me to living in Sicily. Yeah. Something that Stephen King also writes in his book on writing is that he you have to, if you don't write for an audience in general, but maybe write for one person whose opinion you trust and who you hold very dear. In the case of Stephen King, his wife was also a writer and a great editor, or had an interest in it, so she is the person he's writing for. Every time he writes a book, he writes for himself and for his wife in mind, writing knowing what she might say. When he asks himself questions about his writing, he's really asking the sort of questions that his wife might ask him, and to improve the book. And so when I think about who is that person in my life who I really trust the opinion of when it comes to my work, it would be my mother, because I really trust her ability to ask the right questions. And the bond between a mother and a son, and my mum has 2 sons, and both of us have this relationship with her. We're very close, and we speak to her a lot about our music and our filmmaking. Danny's the musician, and I'm the filmmaker, though we both have an interest in both, I think. And often she is the soundboard for a lot of our ideas, and it's because we really trust her opinion, and we really trust that she knows us as well. Now, of course, maybe that might develop into it being Gloria, my wife, who maybe takes on that role. But I think Gloria will take on a different role when it comes to my work, and I can see it developing already, even in just what she thinks about Instagram reels I put up, and trying to get me out there and trying to help me with different aspects of my filmmaking. Of course, I'm not a YouTuber, I'm not a TikToker. All these things are tools to try and facilitate the main goal of maintaining my status as a filmmaker, because I do believe that your status as a film director, in particular, and a status as a writer, both these things, filmmaker, film director, writer, these are all statuses that, for me personally, I only hold on to when I'm doing those things, because I feel like a fraud if I'm not doing those things and I'm calling myself it. And when I'm not having opportunities to work as a director, when I'm not writing films, when I'm not making films, I feel uncomfortable saying, hello, I'm a film director, despite the fact that I've had many opportunities. It's this sense that it's an interesting sense that you have to kid yourself that you're going to make it big and make it in the way that you hope, but at the same time, if you don't put out into the world that you are those sorts of things, then you're not manifesting enough. So it's an interesting combination you have to find. So as I look at myself in the mirror, I think I have to stay true to my own instincts as an artist. Be grateful that I have sounding boards in my life for my art, and that as much as I want to deny my status as a film director when I'm not directing, deny my status as a writer when I'm not writing, I must also manifest those things into this world, and I manifest them through effort. And everything I'm doing, almost, with these vlogs that I'm making every single day, that I think today is now a month of doing it, it's all about manifesting, putting energy out into the world and seeing what comes back. This is a lot of effort putting out there, to reflect, to put things out there, to be out there, to make myself vulnerable on camera, to not care, to not be paralyzed by the thought, what if I become a personality first and a filmmaker second? These are all things that are going through my mind, that are obstacles potentially preventing me from putting things out, from preventing me from pressing publish every single day. But these are all just thoughts. I'll achieve my career as a filmmaker by making films, not by sitting and overthinking. Everything is possible. Every path to being a successful film director is not the same. It's different for everyone. So yeah, that's enough for today. Tomorrow, I'll be taking my siblings to the airport, and I'll have to say goodbye to them, and then we move on with the rest of the week and seeing what we can get from it. I have emails I need to respond to, I have things I need to do, and I have to definitely go to the gym and exercise off all this bread and delicious food I've been eating these last couple of days.